Hello, welcome to the Friday stream
How's
where
it going?
we do Friday things. Today's focus is the axe and how to play the axe,
yes.
some nuances of it. It's a weapon that I am a huge fan of. Normally I have Surus in the side seat and I'm teaching him, but instead today you are filling in for him, the head combat designer, TWK himself.
All right, so I know you've been a long-time Taros main.
Yes.
So is that who you're going to be jumping around with the axe? Because that's where you feel at home?
No, so actually I think in terms of like somebody getting into the axe kit,
Okay.
I would say Taros is probably not the best person to start with. Because of that low dexterity, it makes it a little bit harder to just get a feel for the weapon.
Gotcha.
So instead, I would highly recommend Bryn to be a great like starter
Solid
axe character,
choice.
great middle of the road stats. Really can't go wrong with a Bryn pick. I actually think Azoth is pretty decent as well. I'd say Barasa is kind of in that similar to Taros, and same with Olgrim, where it's like you're kind of low dexterity, makes it a little bit hard to get a feel for the kit. Oh, Ragnar's also solid too. I think
of course.
Bryn, Ragnar, and Azoth would be like the three that if someone's like, hey, who do I need to pick? Axe does have a lot of footsies in it.
Yes.
It's not one of the ones that it really excels at being stacked with an opponent, where you want to just be like right up in their face. So because of that, there's a lot of this kind of dash dancing that'll happen with a lot of axe players. First up, we're going to start off with the axe Neutralite.
Yep.
Pretty straightforward. It's the fastest grounded axe move.
Yep.
And it hits stacked. Very nice. Great get off me tool.
Stacked. Still a decent amount of forward reach as well above other Neutralites.
Other thing that's really nice about this Neutralite is that it pretty easily flows right into that side light. Which is another thing that you'll see a lot of axe players do in kind of the gold area and up. Like, it's just one of those things that's really natural to go right on into that. I'm chase dodging off of this, so you kind of have to have some forward movement into it. The other one, the one that you'll probably see a whole lot more often, is Sidelight Nair.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of the big one right now. What's really nice about Sidelight Nair is you go into like all sorts of other follow-ups.
And most people tend to dodge after that.
Yeah.
Because you expect another follow-up just like that side air. It can be so devastating, a ton of damage. So they expect to dodge through you, away from those attacks. And that's where the ground pound catches so well.
A very great coverage tool is this downlight. Comes out pretty quick. I think it's 1 frame slower than the neutral light. Also, I believe it hits stacked. No, it does not. It hits just a little bit.
Just a little bit in
Sure.
the front.
Yeah, okay. That's right.
But since you don't really jump up there like you would on, say, something like a Gauntlet Sidelight or a Spear Downlight, this one has all that extra priority because you're leading with the weapon so far away from yourself.
Yeah, it's got great range on it. That's kind of the biggest thing on it. Off the sidelight, you'll go into the downlight depending on positioning. Also works off of that Nair, right? At low damages, you'll do that. Sometimes that one is not true. Starting off air kit, we showed off a little bit of the neutral air.
Yep.
Right off that sidelight.
So it's a real big, just half circle upward swing that leaves them fairly close to you for most health ranges.
I want to compare it to like Orb Neutral Air, where it's kind of more of a setup tool than it is a kill tool. Like Sword Neutral Air, it'll kill at certain percentages, right? You get enough damage, it'll start getting that. It'll start becoming a kill option. Whereas Axe Neutral Air, very rarely will you see it be a finishing blow unless you've like juggled them crazy high in the sky off screen, and then you're getting that one last tap.
So
if
it
you're having
sets
trouble,
up for a lot of the other air kit moves. And what's one of the stronger ones that you're going to be looking to hit with after neutral air?
Off of neutral air, I think most people go for the side air.
Okay, yeah. So tell me about side air.
Use it as their approach tool. Use it as a zoning tool.
You can see even at white, it has so much knockback to it. And you can actually, if you catch somebody at like the tail end of their dodge cooldown, it might actually be better to go for a side air off of the side light rather than going for the 3-piece.
This is something that Isidru will do, is he'll do side light, side light, side air, chase dodge, ground pound.
Ooh, yeah.
That's one of those things that he did for a while there, which was really gnarly, and I still don't see that a whole lot, but that's one of those things where like he's getting just a little bit more damage off of that burn dodge as opposed to if he went for just kind of a straightforward side light in the air, whatever. Down air is just really good for bouncing. It's a strong approach tool just because if you miss the down air, you pretty safely can kind of go into some stuff. Also, because it bounces, you can kind of, I think, that, right? Like, you can just bounce them to yourself for all sorts of stuff.
Bounce them into a side air, go for a downlight right after, especially if you hit with the back end of it. A lot of players have been using that because that's what we call meaty stun. The attack will cause a certain amount of stun onto the opponent, and if you hit with the later frames of that attack, the later portion of its swing, you basically get to add that onto, okay, I've recovered, they're still in stun, now I get to link something a little bit tighter of a string or even a combo.
Also really good for the offstage. You'll see a lot of Axe players where, like, if they go for the offstage, they'll do dare and then just fast fall with you and just dare again real quick.
Yeah. I mean, Isidru is so terrifying off stage because he is just perfect with those down airs.
X ground pound. A lot of active frames on this.
Oh yeah.
You can see how far I just fell off that. Like, I'm literally not pressing anything after I input the X ground pound, and I'm just falling. But if you do it on the upward motion, you'll see it's a lot more of like a in-place thing.
Yeah, and that's where you see, we mentioned, you know, Cody Travis and Isidru, they will do that dodge read of the side light neutral air and then a ground pound to beat out a number of different dodges.
Yeah, it punishes quite a few dodges. Let's go ahead and
set them to dodge left just so that way they can see.
Right. Very risky offstage. Whoopsies. Very risky offstage, but it is nice because kind of like spear ground pound, you'll cover like a whole wall with it, right? So it's just kind of this falling hitbox, but obviously it puts you like underneath the platform, so it is really risky as opposed to like comparing it to like bow ground pound. Bow ground pound, you start it, you can kind of cancel it out. You can kind of be like, okay, I'm going too far, I'm gonna back up. Axe ground pound, I can't dodge out or jump out to stop it. And if you're hitting it on the ground, you better make sure that you hit because you are going to get punished because fairly large recovery time. Axe recovery. It is another one of those giant circles, great for coming up over corners, and it will cover on top of you. At higher levels, players are getting really good at basically either hitting it when the circle is on the other side, like just perfectly timing that, or the much safer option is just wait, because now I'm stuck in recovery frames and they just punish me for burning my recovery like that. Stuff where you'll see signatures. Neutral light, very often you'll see. Yeah, a thing that you'll see Ragnar's do, it's something that I think, I'm trying to remember if it was Isidru who was doing it a lot against Noel, or if it was Wilson who was doing it a lot in general. But he would do a down air and then just like follow through with that down air into a neutral signature on Ragnar.
Oh yeah.
Which was just really good because it punished a lot of dodge options because
it's just a big
umbrella
overhead arc.
Definitely stuff that you want to keep in mind with your axe kit, and then you want to kind of cycle through these just so that nobody gets used to them. That I said. Oh yeah, the side.
Yeah. And then early on, I mean, you can even try for like a jump down air.
Oh yeah.
Or if they're trying to dodge down away from your typical other jump options, that's where you get to go trap them in the bounce.
I do that to players at PAX all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Because they never know how to get out of it, right? So you bounce them, and then you can just kind of keep that pressure going.
And now it's like, all right, you're back on the ground. Let's start this game all over again.
You want to be charging it. So like obviously that neutral signature doesn't work if I just tap it. Whoopsies.
So you want to get a little bit of that extra charge. Yeah. Because even on gravity cancels, you can get a little bit of a charge.
Right. So you want to charge it just a little bit if you're reading that spot dodge there. We also went over the ground pound off of it. That's kind of the big one that you'll see the most is the ground pound.
Very common because it covers a number of different dodges.
Another option is just wait.
Yeah.
Go for an air afterwards, right? I actually have a question for you, Eric.
Sure.
So we talked about if they panic jump, right? Recovery works because it'll catch them on their feet.
Yeah.
But if they also dodge up and panic jump, this might be maybe. Yeah. Okay. So they just end up being way out of range. Is there one that you know of that like works really well for that? For like people who just go up more.
Yeah. Go ahead and just try like recovery immediately. So you want to be jumping with that recovery.
Okay.
Just because that'll catch the dodge. Even if they don't dodge, it should also catch with the bottom of the attack. So just a lot of good coverage.
And the trade-off is that obviously you're burning 2 of your air utility moves to do that.
At the end.
Gets you that true.
Yep, undodgeable. The later in its spins, the weaker the hit is. It decreases in damage and force.
Oh, okay. I was curious, because I know there's times where, like, the soft one happens. I was curious if it was, like, how with sword, like, you can drop the last hit, or if it was more like what you're describing.
Yeah, it decreases over its duration, similar with the ground pound as well. So as those spins kind of peter out, they're less damaging, less forceful.